For today's shave, a different location. This is what we've done previous with my soap mixes with Williams. And so my next time, I'm going to try a 45-second soap load. Go ahead and put the half teaspoon of water in at the beginning to keep with simplicity. And then total water is going to be 2 teaspoons. Now, I tried to do that yesterday. Today's the 4th day of Austere August. And I'm on vacation, and it's the middle of the day, and I just woke up. So I'm keeping my crazy hair for now. So on the 3rd, I did the same thing. I tried to do the 45 seconds, but I don't think I let my brush soak for very long. Let's show you the brush so that we can see the splay as this boar is probably going to increase in its splay during the course of this month. All right. Now he's in a little cup of water. Boars do need to be pre-soaked or at least pre-wetted for a few minutes, and they then exist for a few minutes before the shave. They're that way. Their bristles absorb a lot more water than badgers do, which is why they feel so rigid and harsh, like a broom at first. But then when you're using them during a shave, it's crazy how soft they feel. The Blackland dart is going to be today's razor. Gorgeous little piece of machinery. A lot of people are having rough shaves with it. And I discovered that for me, and I just had a report online for another guy, it worked as well. This is kind of a normal angle to shave at, and for me it is. It seems like an angle that gives a good bite. This is a mid-aggressive razor, so you can expect it to have blade feel. But when I use this on the first pass, it's perfect, man. It knocks down the hairs. But when I get to that second and third pass, my skin is not harsh, is not rough enough to handle it. And so I have to, and some you ride the top cap. You open up like this to make the razor smoother. But with this guy, for me, I ride the safety bar. And so I bring the handle in a little closer, and it changes the razor into something enjoyable. I'm going to go adjust those lights. Maybe they're too bright. There we go. All right. So inside the razor, we have the same Nacet that I've been using. I just went ahead and kept it in the razor this time. Blackland, I believe, recommends you loosen it up to allow airflow between shaves if you're going to keep the blade in the razor. It just helps prevent staining. And stainless steel will actually rust eventually, but these things are so new you don't have to worry about that for now. Got my lather bowl, Dollar Tree, V-shape right here, as opposed to my normal U-shape, and I think I'm liking it okay. That's why I got this weird color. It's melamine, because that's the only shape like that they had at the Dollar Tree that day. Post shave is old school as well. In addition to the Williams old school, we have Afta. Now I don't like this scent, the fresh. It's too girly. It's got kind of a feminine note to it. I don't know how this has been used by men for a long time, but anyway, it has. All right, I think we're ready to go. Oh yeah, here is the Williams, and finally, after 3 shaves, the shreddiness of the soap is starting to morph and be uniform into a smooth shape. It'll probably take 3 more shaves to get that down. That's just really funny how long that has lasted. And last shave was interesting. The scent didn't bother me as much, and so it's possible that just letting the Williams sit out for a while can help you if you don't like that citronella scent as much. Get my face wet. Okay. All right, the razor's ready to go. The brush should have been soaking for long enough. Yeah, that feels good. I'm gonna swing it, flop it around inside the sink to vigorously to get out the water as much as I can. Now we're going to take the soap and I'm going to fill my syringe with 2 teaspoons of water. I'm going to put half a teaspoon on top of the soap. I want to be careful not to let it go down the sides because the soap has separated from the sides of the bowl just like a millimeter. I don't want it to drain down in there because then it won't be useful to the brush. And then here we go, slowly start to do that. Oh, we need to time my load here. And 10 seconds. All right, so we're going to go to 55 seconds. Don't know why my brush didn't really seem to load yesterday with just 45 seconds of loading. I was in a rush, and so I don't know exactly what happened. I think it's looking pretty good now. 3, 2, 1, stop. All right, now I'm gonna gather up the little bits that are kind of hanging around, and there we go. Let's just see if there's enough soap to do the job. Inside the brush, I mean, it's got some. Let's see if it's 3 passes worth or 4 passes worth. Part of the experiment, scientifically speaking, you want to alter 1 variable at a time to see if it takes you in the right direction of your experiment. And so I'm going to kind of dry rub this into the bowl for just a second. This gives any water that's still in the brush that hasn't met up with any soap a chance to join. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm just going to add a quarter. I know I just said I should only change 1 variable at once, but I'm just going to add a quarter. I'm going to add water a little more slowly. Now see, this is generating this foam kind of early on, so I'm glad I'm doing this. It's a light foam, it's not really dense yet. Interesting, maybe I should keep going with this until it gets dense. Wow. Who wants to watch me do this, right? I mean, maybe you do, maybe you're studying lathering, but if you don't, there is a gear icon on YouTube videos. Hit it and look for playback or speed. Switch it to like 1.5 or something like that. You can generally understand my words even if you're at 1.5 speed. All right, I believe it's done as much as it can do for now, and that's great. I could have probably stopped a little earlier. I just want to make sure. Crap, I forgot to add just the quarter teaspoon of water. So, oh well. So one of the things we're going to detect here is that last 15 seconds of loading. I got plenty of lather from a 1-minute load 2 days ago. And so we're going to see if we end up with enough lather to do the job. If we don't, we know that that last minute, that last 15 seconds of lather under those conditions is fruitful, necessary. Right now, this lather is very light. And when I have the longer load, it's not as light as this at this point. It starts more thick. Maybe, you know, in the beginning of Austere August, I started by putting a smaller amount on the soap. That may be the key to having density in your lather, because it may start to build up a less of a, it may help to keep the air out of the lather. And you're working more with a paste. So I'm interested to see how things go here. Yesterday's lather did kind of start this way. With kind of the airiness of it. Okay, now it's getting a little thicker. It's getting more body, more volume. It's kind of pretty for photos, but it's not as dense as I want it. Okay, so there's the whole 2 teaspoons of lather. Let's just see what happens. Yesterday it was this way, and I was in a little bit of a rush, and so what I did, instead of working it or whatever, was just went back to the soap puck, got a little bit more soap, and then I ended up with way too much lather, but it was nice and dense and it worked well. This is shaping up. Stir it for a little bit longer. I'm having to hold it at a lot higher angle than I usually do. I'm gonna have to switch arms. Now you can see how awkward. If you're new to using a shaving brush, maybe this is how you look doing it, because I don't think I've ever used my left hand. So look at the splay on this brush. This is turning out to be, once it's all wet, a pretty low backbone brush. This is the Whipped Dog Boar brush, Boar knot. It's inside of a handle from Shave Forge. Well, let's test out our lather here. It's moving around nicely. Kind of a big clob right there. It's got a little bit of elasticity to it. Let's go for it. Looks like quantity is going to be fine, so that's cool. Don't have as much growth. Maybe just 18 or 20 hours. I'm shaving a little earlier than usual. Get my face wet again. But when I come off of vacation and I do my shave of the days, I'm going to have to shave at a certain time that I would prefer, and so I'm kind of backing up my time a little bit to more closely align with that. All right. So there we go. Oh, hey, the sun came out. How about that? How about that? All right. This brush is proceeding nicely. Not getting any prickle like I did the other day with 2 days ago. Because the lather was a little too slick, too thinned out. If you're new to wet shaving, we're doing the scrubbing type part. You can do it with just the tips of the brush, but as you can see, I'm pressing the brush a little bit into my skin. It's called the splay. And that's a scrubby type operation, and we want to do that to clean your face, to get in between all those hair follicles and get under the hairs, get some soap under there to lift them up and get them ready to be shaved. We don't want any dead skin or dirt to get in our way or mess with our blade edge. And now I switch to a painting method, a painting stroke to smooth out the layer of lather. And this is when you really notice how thick your lather is or how thin it is, because while you're doing the scrubbing, it just it usually looks pretty thin, but I've got this actually kind of thick, and so it was easier to see the thickness when scrubbing. But a lot of times when I've got my lather just right, it looks really thin when I'm scrubbing. That's because most of the lather, let me do a little bit of a scrub operation here. Most of the lather is not in the middle of the brush, but it's on the outside. And so when you switch to painting, you're able to use the soap that's on the outside of the brush. All right. Here we go. With the first pass, I've discovered that kind of the normal 30-degree angle or so is about right for this razor. It does a great job at removing hair. And with the Blackland razors like the Blackbird, drag was an issue because there was a whole lot of metal touching your face with that razor. But I think it's really just how well you mix your lather. Because in the dart, I've experienced no noticeable drag at all. And so if you have drag with the dart, then you really need to work on the slickness of your lathers. Your lathers are either too dry, relatively speaking, or they're too wet and there's not enough soap on your face. Find that happy medium. And there we go. First pass is down. No irritation. A little bit of a rinse. Nice, slick soap it is. Very slick. If you're not getting slickness from Williams, you're doing it wrong. If you're not getting cushion from Williams, you just need a little refinement. That's one of the things, one of my goals here with choosing Williams for Austere August. And go in there and get more lather. Williams does have a little tingling sensation, for my skin at least. I have experienced a couple of products that make my skin kind of irritated, so I must have either a little bit of a sensitive skin or something like that going on. It's a very light tingling. It's just almost like a good kind of industrial soap has been cleaning you, you know, kind of a caustic kind of feel, but it's very light. It doesn't really bother me, but I am trying to report well on what I'm experiencing, so I did want to mention it. Yeah, I got this. This is a good lather mix right here. I like this. Maybe that 45 seconds is pretty good. I have experienced a richer, denser lather from Williams, and so maybe I'll have to chase that once I've got this as a good landmark, benchmark. Now that I'm on my second pass, I've discovered that you can mitigate the aggression if the dart is too aggressive for you. You can mitigate the aggression by bringing the handle in closer to your face. There are a good many razors where you do the opposite. You do what's called ride the top cap or open the handle angle more. So you might open it more, something like this. But I did not get success with that. And so I tried bringing the handle in. And it worked really well. My third passes, without the handle, that's what I call the handle angle, right? I was really not looking forward to because of the irritation. The third pass and even the latter part of the second pass. But once I learned the right angle to use, and it really makes the razor dynamic. I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again. It's almost like having two razors in one. Keeping it at this angle, you've got an aggressive razor that's really going to mow stuff down. If you have tough skin, this may be where you keep it the whole shave, and then you end up getting a really close shave. However, if you're like me, then you need to change things up. You bring the handle angle in, and it's a much more refined, an online user used that word, I read it this morning, a much more refined angle. It's more smooth. The roughness has been muted. It is consistent, and it just feels like a slightly higher than medium aggression razor, or maybe even a medium aggression razor with just a little bit of blade feel to it, you know, some blade feel to it. And so, oh, it appears as though I am clean shaven. All right. So it's like two razors in one, a kind of a mid-range and then an upper aggression type razor. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people, they are not figuring out the secret quickly enough, and they're only experiencing that full bite of that 30 or 35 degree angle. And so then they're returning the razor, or they're decrying it on the public forums and stuff. Rinse. Denouncing, maybe that's a better word than decry. So what you're getting with this razor is it's almost like an adjustable. By changing the angles, you're changing the aggression levels. And I believe what's going on is like here's the safety bar and here's the blade. And so when you've got it at that 30 degree angle, you're getting more bite, more of the blade is pressed into the skin. But when you lower the handle angle, you're not lifting the blade up off the skin at that micro level, but it still comes in contact with the skin, but just at a less, it presses in less. And so you're going to not get that same irritation. And you can bring the handle in enough to where it lifts the blade off and you don't get any cutting or whatever. So if you don't hear and feel the cutting, you may want to slowly open your angle just a little bit. So, success with this lather. I'm not ending up with as much extra soap. So 45 soap economy wise seems to be a little better than 1 minute. Doing it in the camera is kind of really funny. I don't have as much detail. I can't see the texture of the soap. Third pass, don't really need to do a scrubbing pass. And there we go. The scent. Haven't really even noticed the scent. So for those of you who don't like the Williams scent, once you've kind of had the soap puck out for a while, as long as you don't keep it in a covered container, it's possible that the scent might just kind of dissipate. Also, if you really like the soap, what you can do is, I grated it with a cheese grater to put it in this dish. Just press it down as hard as you can, and then now it's ready to go. But when you grate it, spread it out on a cookie sheet for a week, week and a half, 2 weeks. Come back to it, and the scent will have dissipated a great deal. All right. Let's shave it off. Third pass. Handle closer in. And with this technique, I just ended up with shaves that were irritation free, despite this, despite the reported aggression of this razor. And the Blackbird is very rough for me. I don't use it very often. It's a gorgeous piece. I wish I could use it more. But it's too aggressive, really, for me. It's not comfortable. I can use it, but I often will get a little bit of irritation from it. A nick maybe every once in a while, depending on the blade. Maybe I just need to use only it for like a week or two and see if that I can refine my technique with it, get the angle right, that sort of thing. But I say that just to say that my skin is I'm not able to use this because I have tough skin, because the Blackbird is more aggressive than this, and it's too aggressive for me. So this guy's right on the line for me. And then by bringing in that handle angle, it makes it well within my enjoyment level. All right, I'm going to do a final rinse and inspection, so I'm going to pause you. Another great shave, and I need to mention that this, I don't have the envelope with me. The blade I'm using for this month is a Gillette Nacet. The plan is to use it all month. That's one of the options if you choose to participate in the Austere August. You can go so extreme that you use the same blade all month. We hear reports that pretty much any blade can go for longer than a month if you have good technique. And so I've had great results with the Nacet. This blade has now, with this shave, been used 6 times, I believe. And even though it's the 4th of August, it had 2 uses on it before I started. So I'm blunting the tools to make the work harder, right? All right. Great shave. Just see the tips, and I mean the dot type tips. I don't see any length at all in my trouble spot. 95% baby butt smooth on my cheeks without really trying, without doing and against the grain pass. So that's very good results. Very happy with that. My goatee's growing back. I shaved it off, was it Wednesday or Tuesday of last week? And so a week and a half, it's kind of looking back to normal. Now I need to trim my mustache to match up with it. All right. So this was a great shave lather. Worked really well. 45-second load, I think that's good. I don't think I want to go lower than that. How much soap did I end up with? Kind of an extra pass in the bowl. It's a little bit on the, it's not really dense. And I've gotten dense lathers before with Williams. Now let's see also how much soap is in the brush. Not all that much inside the brush. Most of this was on its side. But here's another pass right here. So I might be able to go with a 30-second load. But I'm happy with this right now. What I'm thinking now I want to do is I want to try to pursue the richness, the density that I've gotten before. So next time what I might try is adding water more slowly as I am mixing up as I'm loading the brush from the puck. I got kind of that light, frothy, airy lather coming out at first, and the secret may be to slowly drip water onto the puck as you're loading up. Maybe keep a 45-second load, but just add water more slowly instead of dumping the whole half teaspoon on the puck from the beginning. Another thing to try, and maybe, this is a simpler thing. I like to find those techniques that are more user-friendly. Slowly dripping water onto a puck is not as friendly as just dumping a whole half teaspoon on there. But I just thought I think tomorrow I will bloom the puck for a few minutes. And then maybe I just won't start off with, I won't add any water to the puck, and we'll just see what happens. Some people say blooming's not necessary. Let's add it to my little mix here, and we'll see if we can get more optimal results, more density. So current best formula for soap economy, and it was a good performing soap. It felt smooth going on the face, protected me well. It's great to use this razor in this soap test because this is a medium aggressive razor. If I don't have a protective soap, it'll let me know. So it protected me well, and really happy about that. So I've been talking for a few minutes after being rinsed off, and I'm not sweating or anything like that, so it's not adding moisture to my face. I think the post-shave experience with Williams is not really, is either acceptable or just, almost acceptable. So I could probably walk away from the experience without any post-shave product. But let's go ahead and put on what I'm going to be using this month. A slightly feminine scented, got some florals or something in this thing. It also has a little bit of alcohol, which is cool because that's acting as a rough shave detector. Oh, I'm not getting any. Okay, one tiny, barely noticeable little sting right around here. How about that? Nice. That's a good sign in terms of your shaving technique. There we go. So the good news is this scent doesn't last very long. In about 45 minutes, I won't smell like a powdery, flowery person anymore. So there we go. I've got what to try for next time. Maybe I'll bloom the soap, see how that goes. Good experience all around. Great shave today. No irritation even before I put on the balm. Yesterday I was in a hurry and I did get a little bit of irritation down here, but it still was nothing that the balm couldn't fix easily. You saw how much soap I used. I used 2 teaspoons of water. And that's the 6th use of the Nacet, and it's the 4th of Austere August. Hope there was some good stuff in here for you. Take care. What I'll probably do is in the comments section, I'll probably go back in all my August videos and put in some of the good shaves that might be of note. You know, who knows, maybe on the 7th of August it was a junky shave. So who needs to watch that? And so I'll put in when the landmark shaves were, the notable ones that had some good results to show you. Or maybe I just won't publish those videos, right? Anyway, hope there was something here for you. Take care. Bye.